Here we have the current stock market update for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts in the comment section below so that other traders will be able to find this information more easily on the platform. So here we can see that the breakout stock today has been Palantir. We have seen some positive news that has worked as a bit of a catalyst, but I am a bit suspicious about some of these moves and the extent to which these moves can continue. So in this video, we will be looking at some very specific price zones so that we can hopefully identify some profitable trading strategies for this stock in the days and weeks ahead. So as you can see here, all of my prior trend lines and arrows and everything is completely left intact compared with what was seen in the prior video. The overall thesis that I had in place was that share prices could continue to move higher as long as we manage to hold on to support right around this 200-hour exponential moving average. Essentially, this is the rising blue line that's found toward the midpoint of the chart here. We can sort of zoom in on this a bit. So the main area here was this blue line here, and the suggestion was that if we were able to hold these support levels, there was still some potential for the stock to move higher, even though the overall market is still trading under a bit of pressure. And then in addition to that, we do have this near-term catalyst. Palantir being included in the S&P 500 is positive news for the stock, obviously. Does sort of put the stock into a different category, possibly a bit less of a meme stock, perhaps, a little bit more of a serious name. It's obviously a very serious company. They have excellent products, terrific future ahead of the company. But at the moment, I was asked about this catalyst effect here for the stock, and overall, my belief here has not changed. My position here has not changed in that we can see rallies here. That's perfectly understandable that we would see something like that. However, I do expect these to be somewhat short-lived. What this has done here, in effect, is to further exacerbate the main problem with this stock, which is the forward PE ratio. The valuations for this stock are extremely high. I think that it's easy to maybe for people with less experience in the market to look at the share price itself rather than the PE metrics and things like that. And if we're looking at this stock from a forward PE perspective, this is an extremely expensive stock. And perhaps much more expensive than it looks with a $34 share price. So as things currently stand, this is obviously a positive move here. We're gapping higher, but in my view, this does look unsustainable in many ways because what we're looking at here is a reading in the relative strength index. Again, this is the hourly price chart, so each candle here is going to be a 1-hour trading period. But what we've seen here is share prices quickly gap higher here into overbought territory quite quickly. This is a significant breakout, and I'm not trying to diminish the the overall effect of the breakout because we are moving above prior resistance levels, but there are a few reasons here to be concerned. So I'm just going to point those out here quickly. So number one would be the fact that we've got this tremendous spike higher in the RSI, in the relative strength index. For the most part, these moves tend to not be very sustainable, and we are now trading in overbought territory. On the positive side, what this has created here is an upward trend in momentum that has the potential to continue, although the slope here on this trend is a bit extreme, and it doesn't really look as though that would be sustainable either. But what we do have here is overall a break in the prior downtrend momentum that had been seen in the stock. So that on its own is another positive development. In addition to this, we can look at the prior historical regions of support and resistance, which show that share prices have now broken above this prior price high, which was generated, let's get a date here, generated during the August 22 trading session. So this would be this 33.13 high price high. So as things stand here, we have now broken above this level. And this is significant. And this is also probably leading to some current follow through in the stock itself. So anybody that might have been short this stock, for example, may now be closing out that position. And this is the type of, the effect that this tends to have is that this can help to generate further gains. The issue, however, though, is whether or not these gains are going to be sustainable near term, intermediate term, long term. So the fact that this breakout did occur, I agree, is significant because we're breaking above previous levels of resistance. However, what occurred here is a very significant price gap in the share price itself. So what we're looking at here, as far as the price gap is concerned, we're looking at roughly 30.40 as the bottom of the price gap, and then 32.50 roughly as this top of the price gap. So the risk here is that share prices could start to encounter some fairly extreme price volatility if we break back below this 32.50 level. So that would be essentially the main risk here. If this does occur, we would then expect for share prices to gap through this area to fill this gap. And then this does create some additional downside momentum that might take some traders by surprise here. So I do think that what we're going to see today possibly is a lot of clickbait type videos for this stock, suggesting that it's going to the moon and all this. I don't think that these moves are going to be sustainable here long term. And I do think that what we're looking at is the potential for many people to start to get into this stock at very elevated levels. Anybody that's going to be buying into this stock at roughly 33.50 or something like that, you don't have much of a cushion here for profit in the event that share prices do start to move lower, and then possibly we start to see this gap filled. So obviously this is not my long-term opinion on the stock. I do not expect the stock to crash or anything like that. I wouldn't recommend selling the stock necessarily unless you're possibly trading on a very short-term time frame, like a 5-minute chart or something like that. I think you could probably scalp some gains to the downside possibly. But overall, I don't really view these types of moves as being sustainable. I think they would be short-lived. This is more of a short-term news event that I don't really expect this to change much for the stock going forward, at least not from a fundamental perspective. And we still have this price to earnings ratio problem, which is now even worse. Given the fact that share prices have continued to move higher without there being an earnings report or anything else like that to validate these upward moves higher. So overall, this is a positive development. We have now also, even from a technical perspective, we've broken above prior resistance levels. That's all positive. But if we start to see some movements lower here, I think that you're going to start to see some people getting, panicking and closing their position because, they're already losing money, even at, because they bought in at these elevated levels. And then in addition to that, you could look at this price gap being filled here relatively soon. So trade with caution. Here's the current stock market update for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership and start trading stocks with the pros.